first down. They hand off to Marlon Mack. Huge hole, 50-yard line. He's at the 40, still going near sideline. He's at the 10. He's at the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Marlon Mack. Touchdown, INDY. And again, it's picked off. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with his second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's gonna go. A pick six for the Maniac.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. While many of you were asking, and Derek indeed is alive, been out this week struggling, but we're glad to have you here, man. How have you been holding up?
Oh, man. Still not even close to 100% yet, but, you know, most of my symptoms and everything has, you know, pretty much gone away at this point. But now I'm just, you know, having a ginormous issue of just being able to breathe consistently. But yeah, it's been a rough week. It's been rough just because I'm not used to getting sick. And this is just something that's just another bump in the road. But I missed being here. And, you know, I'm not going to be 100% yet. Probably won't be 100% for close to another week. But I'm getting better. So, you know, Cody's going to take the lead today, mainly just because I'm trying not to talk too much because of my breathing. But outside of that, I'm doing pretty good today. So felt good, ready to talk a little bit of Colts football.
That's right, man. And it was a bummer that we weren't able to talk together about the Colts victory last week. And we can start there. I kind of want to get your initial thoughts on that game. I mean, you know, the defense once again looked lights out against Nick Foles and company. And we were texting even when the Bears were playing the Bucs on Thursday night, just about how, yeah, you know, the Bears offense didn't look great. They still kind of look like they kind of stink a little bit. But, I mean, we've seen this consistent trend, whether it be, you know, not so much the Jets, but like the Vikings. You know, they go and put a bunch of points on the board every other week except for the Colts. The Bears, you know, have done the same. And, you know, this week, this week against the Bucs, you know, they still were pretty consistent. They had some moments where they stunk, but, you know, overall, they did better than they did against the Colts, and that's been kind of a common trend against this defense. Teams have struggled against this defense. Every single team, except for obviously week one, has struggled. I want to get your thoughts first on just this Colts defense, which is basically ranked number one in every single category so far.
Yeah, I mean, last week was definitely a surprise. You know, the Colts, and I mean, obviously, I'll start with the offense first. I on the contrary, kind of thought that the Colts offense actually ran the ball better this last week than what we have seen in previous weeks. I know I'm in the minority there. No, a lot of people said over this last week, this Colts run offense is absolutely atrocious. They're one of the worst in the league right now. But here is my difference, though. I saw Jonathan Taylor make runs in that game that I had not seen him make yet this season. It looked like his vision was better. I know yards per carry was bad, but there were runs in that game where Jonathan Taylor and Jordan Wilkins and Nyheim Hines took over. They had some runs where they were very important, big runs. And, you know, Rivers was talking trash with Roquan Smith on Jonathan Taylor turning the corner on him. See, that was the thing. Taylor did do that. And I'm thinking, you know, there was a couple cutback runs that Jonathan Taylor had. See, like, I know everyone was like, oh, you know, the Colts offense, they didn't do well. Remind me, what was the score of the Buccaneers Bears game yesterday or Thursday? It was 20-19, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we scored the same amount of points on the Bears as the Buccaneers did. And everyone says the Buccaneers have a better offense than us, right? So I'm not saying that we're better offense than the Buccaneers, but I'm telling everyone just the Bears have a really good defense. And not to mention, after them just beating the Buccaneers, people are already saying this Bears team has not played a complete game yet. they're playing with a new quarterback now in a new system, and they're beating teams. Like, this is a team that can make it into the playoffs right now. And we're like, okay, so we just beat a playoff team. That's what y'all just said. Thank you. That's all I need to know. But yeah, like you said with the defense, again, lights out on everything. What did they give up? 30 yards of rushing offense in that game? Like,
ridiculous.
I think Montgomery's best run was 7 yards.
Yeah, that was his long. And if you want to talk about the Colts not having a great day rushing, the Bears had a worse day. That tells you anything right there.
Exactly.
This defense, man, they are spectacular. Like, every single facet. And I know DeForest Buckner hasn't had a sack in a couple weeks, but he is still making an impact everywhere he goes. Mm-hmm. Everybody on this starting defensive line is making an impact every single week. And even guys that are, backups are still making impacts.
Yep.
Like, this defensive line is playing, I thought this defensive line was going to be a lot better, obviously, but like to this degree, I mean, I'm really, really encouraged with what I've been seeing so far.
Oh, yeah.
And the Colts don't even have back their best pass rusher on the outside, Kamoko Toure, yet.
Yep. That is true. And I also want to give love to Blankenship as well in that game because, again, going to Soldier Field, having to deal with that. I mean, that is a tough environment to kick in. Always unpredictable wind. A lot of stuff can happen. It's even without fans, it's still an intimidating place to kick. Yeah. And, he went in there and, was pretty good on the day. So, I mean, he made his kicks when he needed to. So, again, I got to give credit where credit is due. I must say I am impressed with Blankenship so far this season. Has obviously missed a couple, but, he's still a rookie, looks to be hitting his stride, and I'm fairly surprised at what I'm seeing from him so far.
The thing that's impressed me, even on those misses, they haven't been like short. They've just been wide, and it's been barely like some of them have been like right on the crossbar, type of thing. But, even in those misses, Blankenship has come back every single time and he hasn't let it snowball. He's kicked his next one. He's made it. And I've been really impressed as a rookie. He's done that. And you look like no matter where you're at, I know like obviously, kicking situation can be very volatile in the NFL. But, like, I look at, like, some of the best kickers in the league right now. They miss every so often. Like, it happens. But, how do you come back from that, I think, is the biggest thing. And Blankenship so far, he has been perfect on that. He hasn't missed 2 consecutive field goals so far. When he misses one, he comes back. He nails the next one. He's not letting it get into his head, which is very, very impressive to me, especially as a rookie. So, super awesome. Okay, we can get to some of the comments now, Derek. So,
okay, go ahead.
Comments on Drugs says, I'm ready for some college football today and NFL tomorrow. Derek, you said you're going to order some Domino's after this and watch some college football. And your Buckeyes are coming back here pretty soon, too, which is awesome.
Yep.
So that's awesome, dude. Justin's in here as well. He says, what's going on, guys? Justin, thanks for joining us, man. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these streams, so glad to have you back in here with us. Jackson here as well. He says, what's up, guys? OBJ's roads are closed this weekend. Okay, let's talk about Xavier Rhodes so far. It was hilarious after our week 2 matchup, in the preview game with the guy that we brought on. He was kind of like making fun of Xavier Rhodes, just like, roads are wide open. That's the thing that Vikings fans have said after Xavier Rhodes has struggled. Then since then, Xavier Rhodes has been one of the best corners. I don't know if you saw the stat, Derek, just on how good Xavier Rhodes has been up to this point. I mean, he's been one of the best corners in the league so far.
Yep.
It's so impressive for Xavier Rhodes to make this comeback. I'm curious, what do you think so far has been the biggest reason why Xavier Rhodes has really had a nice bounce back season here a quarter way through?
I think it has to do with a multitude of different reasons. One, just being the scheme is the first part. This is exactly what Xavier Rhodes' scheme is meant to be. A zone coverage that allows him to be aggressive up front, and it just allows him to take advantage of miscues. I mean, he's taken full advantage of those. And I think after week 1, they were saying, okay, we need to let Xavier Rhodes do what he does best, which is at the line of scrimmage being physical and making guys earn every yard that they get. I mean, yeah, we know that he's older and he may not be in his all-pro form, what we used to see, but so far this season, you wouldn't know that. If you just skipped the 2019 season and you took him back to if you skip 2018 from when he got hurt and 2019, you skip those 2 years and you just replay from 2017 to now, you almost wouldn't recognize the difference. He looks almost as good as what he did back then. I mean, he definitely looks like he's comfortable. I think it probably helps that, the coordinator that he's working with certainly knows his strengths and knows how to get the best out of him. And, of course, winning also helps, right? You feed off of the defense. And I think that defensive front is also helping Xavier Rhodes a little bit as well. He doesn't have to, follow guys as much. So, I mean, Xavier Rhodes has been a very pleasant surprise this year. I really hope he continues. And the funny thing is, too, before I let you continue here, he's not just been a good zone coverage guy. He's actually been playing very good man coverage, too. You saw that first throw in the Jets game. He was playing man coverage, it looked like. I mean, he read that receiver the whole way, and that was such an easy pick. I mean, it's so good to see Xavier Rhodes being what he is. I mean, that's what we're paying that guy $3.5 million to play for this team right now. I mean, that was such a good hire by Chris Ballard.
Yeah, him and TJ Carey. I mean, they both have played well so far. So that's super encouraging to have, because we even said with Marvell Tell opting out earlier on in the offseason, oh my goodness, your corner depth is now in question. Like, what's going to happen? What if Xavier Rhodes doesn't pan out? What if TJ Carey doesn't pan out? Both these guys are playing really well. And also Rocky Sin, after missing 2 weeks with an undisclosed injury, he's back, and he had a really solid game last week against the Bears, I thought. He left that game, but he seems like he's fine. He's going to continue to play, and he's healthy. So the Colts really have 4 corners that you feel pretty good about, including Kenny Moore into that as well. Colts have 4 really good corners that I'm really encouraged about because, Derek, we said this could be it could be a strength or a major weakness of this defense. So far through 4 games, it's been a major, major strength. So that's super encouraging. I'm really excited to see how this group continues to grow together. And also Isaiah Rodgers, we haven't even really talked about. He's been getting a little bit of reps as well in the secondary. Let's keep moving on.
And there's one guy you even failed to mention, and that is freaking Julian Blackmon.
Oh, yeah.
That's another guy. Obviously not a corner, but like when it comes to secondary and, playing to the strengths, I mean, holy cow. I mean, Julian Blackmon has played as well as any. I remember a stat. I don't remember. I think it was either Zach or Joel that posted this, but I think they said 3 pass deflections. It took Julian Blackmon less than 150 snaps to do that. And Malik Hooker has not done that in 700 snaps. So in nearly 4 times, they said in 4 times the amount of usage, Julian Blackmon has already done what Malik Hooker has failed to do in that amount of time.
I think it was something like 3 or something for Julian Blackmon through these 4 games. Malik Hooker had like 5 all of last year. So that tells you anything right there.
Yeah, I know,
pretty
right?
Wild. As much as we defended Malik Hooker, I mean, Julian Blackmon's playing out of his mind right now. And I've seen a lot of people say this, and I don't know if you agree with this, Derek. Julian Blackmon is essentially being what Malik Hooker was supposed to be in terms of a ball hawk type of guy that's always around the ball, deflecting balls, into the defender's hands. We saw that a couple weeks ago against the Vikings. Last week, getting the pick off of a pass that goes through Anthony Miller's hands, just making plays consistently. And also, he's just a hard hitter too. Like, that's the beauty of it, is like with Malik Hooker, you think about it. Okay, his weakness, if you would say, is probably his tackling, right, and his hitting. Whereas you think of like a guy who's hit. Think LaRon Landry, for example. I know that's a name we haven't talked about in a long time, but he couldn't cover to save his life. And so Julian Blackmon's kind of the best of both of those, where he can cover and he can also lay the wood. And he's not like giant, but he plays a lot bigger than he is. So I'm super encouraged by him and his progress so far. He's not on the pitch count anymore. He's
not anymore.
Safety. So,
and thank goodness for that. He's playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah. And let's shout out Chris Ballard, man. I mean, the last 2 drafts, Kari Willis gets him in the 4th round. He gets Julian Blackmon in the 3rd round this year. Chris Ballard has a way of finding mid-round steals at the safety position. He must know how to draft his defensive backs. I mean, going all the way back to his Chicago days. I mean, he drafted some pretty good defensive backs there, so there was a part of that. So certainly encouraging so far. Chris Ballard has done a fantastic job of finding guys.
And people just forget that is the draft is not all about first and second rounders. It's not. The majority of your starters are going to be guys from the third, fourth, fifth, sometimes even sixth round. It's one of those things you have to know who you want all the way through because you never know when that guy could end up being a number one on your defense. And like you said, Ballard just knows how to find them, man. He just knows how to find them.
Speaking of sixth rounders, you made me think of Jordan Glasgow, who had a blocked punt last week against the Bears. That was encouraging to see because we haven't really heard his name, which is fine. I mean, he's I think he's a leading tackler on special teams right now. He was a find from the Colts, and that's exactly what they drafted him for.
It's exactly why they drafted him, to do things just like that. Right. And, when he did that, Frank Reich said, okay, yes, from here on out, you will be on every special teams down 100% of the time. And I love it. And I don't know if you saw the video, but I think he got body slammed by the special teams coordinator after that. He was celebrating and went to bump him, and then he just slammed him to the ground. It was the funniest thing ever.
That's hilarious. Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right. Hunter's in here as well. He says, what's up, guys? Hunter, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. All right. Let's keep rolling. I hate that when the comments just completely go wacky and you're lost your spot.
Yeah. People are kind of talking about the offensive line for this next game. That's what a long list of these comments are.
Yeah,
right here.
I was going to pull up this one. LaRaven Clark is probably going to be your starter with Anthony Costanzo out for this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because Frank Reich, and I know he has to say this as the coach, but it's encouraging because you've heard from all accounts, LaRaven Clark has had his best camp so far in his career. And Frank Reich said, I'm excited to see how LaRaven plays here against the Browns. I don't know if most Colts fans share that sentiment after seeing LaRaven Clark the last few seasons, but you never know with LaRaven Clark. I mean, I felt like when Costanzo went down in 2018, he wasn't a world beater by any means, but I didn't think he played bad. I thought that he was a pretty solid backup option for you in 2018. What is your thoughts on LaRaven Clark this game? Obviously, Costanzo out, big loss, probably the biggest loss of this game. What are your thoughts on LaRaven Clark being the next left tackle, the backup left tackle this week and potentially his future at left tackle?
Well, this week will certainly tell a big difference, right? Here's the funny thing too. Myles Garrett, if he were to get a sack on Anthony Costanzo, right? If he were lined up against Costanzo, he got a sack or a sack and a half against Costanzo, nobody would really bat an eye, right? They would say, oh, that's just Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's one of the best defensive ends in football. Well, here's the funny thing. I guarantee you, the moment Myles Garrett gets a pressure on Phillip Rivers, not a sack, he immense my words here. Once he gets a pressure on Phillip Rivers, the Colts fan base will say, oh my God, get rid of LaRaven Clark. He's trash. Get him out of here. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And here's the thing. Frank Reich absolutely knows that LaRaven Clark is getting put into a very bad situation. As talented as LaRaven Clark might be, he's going up against one of the best defensive ends in football, had little time to prepare. So what he already said he was going to do was that he's going to, I see it on there. Do you want to check that?
Yes. Where?
It's down at the bottom.
See it. Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it, man. We're back.
So much,
I know.
Devin.
Yeah. Thanks for sending that, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Devin, for being in here, man. Glad to be here.
I guess this is a nice kind of thing that we can talk about here because I just was thinking about this. So we're going to start doing a game day, like a preview stream before the game. I know we hadn't done that the first couple of weeks, but have a couple of my friends who are wanting to do it. A couple guys that I used to do podcasting with that are wanting to jump in and do it. And Derek, I don't know, depending on how you feel, you may or may not be a part of that, but
I think that I'll hang out. I'll probably hang out in the middle, probably let them do the majority of the talking again. Yeah. But yeah, like he said, guys, we're going to be having a pregame show for the first time this season. We're going to start having it every Sunday. These guys, like Cody said, are friends of his. They're going to be willing to do a pregame show for us, which is awesome. Adds another thing to this. And I know that a lot of people in this chat have been asking for us to do that for a while. We just haven't, our schedules just have not allowed us to do that. But these guys are able to do that. So we're going to do that. But yeah, that's cool. Thanks. But anyway, back to the question of the Raven. They're going to have extra protection over there on whichever side Myles Garrett is on. Okay. And here's the other thing, Cody, is that Myles Garrett is not going to line up on LaRaven Clark all day long. That's just not what happens. Myles Garrett switches around, which is what's unique about him because, he's not just stationary on one side. He plays both ends. So even Braden Smith's going to have his freaking hands full. Yeah. But I do anticipate the Colts to have multiple sets where there's a tight end on that side, keep helping him out to just ensure that LaRaven's going to have a better one-on-one chance with Myles Garrett. So again, I think Myles Garrett is going to get a couple of his pressures. He's going to maybe get a sack or two. But I don't anticipate this to be as bad as everyone says it is. Everyone's saying, the Colts are gonna give up 4 sacks to Myles Garrett now for this. Like, no, I don't anticipate that in the slightest, especially since Rivers still gets the ball out quicker than any quarterback in the NFL right now. So I just don't see that. This Colts offensive pass protection has been pretty good through the first 4 weeks of the season. So I don't anticipate that to change very much.
Yeah, and I think the thing is Frank Reich will know, especially if Myles Garrett keeps going up against LaRaven Clark, he continues to do that. Frank Reich knows, and he'll scheme it up, and he'll get a tight end to help LaRaven Clark, so they'll take Myles Garrett out of the game, Frank Reich knows how to do that. He's not dumb, he's not going to just have LaRaven Clark one-on-one with Myles Garrett every single play. I mean, if so, maybe Myles Garrett gets 4 sacks, I don't know, but Frank Reich in his scheme, they're going to scheme ways to help LaRaven Clark out. So I agree with you. It's a loss. It's a big loss to lose Costanzo. But for me, Clark is, for one game, I feel fine about it. Like, it's not like he's the start of the rest of the season. And they're just being cautious with him and Leonard. So I'm kind of feeling okay about it right now.
And here's another thing. Here's a couple guys that the Colts won't have to face. Tay Davis, the Browns linebacker, is out. Larry Ogunjobi, who's their starting defensive tackle, is out for this game. They said he's actually one of the better interior defensive linemen in the game, so that helps. That might help with running the football this week. Mm-hmm. And Greedy Williams, their corner that they obviously drafted before, is not playing in this game either. Carl Joseph is questionable, and so is Adrian Claiborne. So I know we have some issues on the offensive line, and we have a guy that's out on the defense, or 2 of them, but they have some injuries on that defense too. So, I mean, it's perfectly possible that we could take full advantage of those.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Derek asks, are we still ranked number 1 without Darius Leonard? Well, I think this will certainly be a great test to see, kind of a barometer to see where this Colts defense is, because this Browns offense, I know they're losing Nick Chubb for multiple weeks, but they're running for over 200 yards per game right now. They're out of this world running the football right now. And I think it's going to be a big test for this defense. But I think, if this defense is legit, they're going to step up to the plate. You're facing 2 really good receivers. The Browns are getting David Njoku back, also with Austin Hooper, their other tight end. So they have a couple of weapons there. They still have Kareem Hunt. So I really think this is going to be a big test. It's hard for me to say yes or no at this point because, we saw when Darius Leonard exited, the Colts still were able to pretty much slow the Bears. With Bobby Okereke, who looks like he had surgery, but he's going to play. He just wrapped it, and he's going to play.
Looks like
and then Anthony Walker, the Colts seemed encouraged by him. Seems like he's going to play as well. So the Colts are going to have, 2 of their top 3 linebackers still playing. So I think that's huge. They
Yeah,
have all
huge.
their secondaries all healthy. So really, and their defensive line's all healthy too. So as big of a loss as Leonard is, the Colts fortunately have a lot of depth behind him. And a lot of guys that are still capable and still able to fill the void left by Leonard. So I think this defense still can potentially have a good day because they're actually pretty healthy, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, this defense, and with Zaire Franklin still able in there, and EJ Speed had a mystery injury at the beginning, but it seems as though he is actually healthy and ready to go. I didn't see anything on that. So, yeah, like you said, Darius Leonard's the only injury on this defense right now. So this defense is still locked and loaded, even without Darius Leonard. And, I still think, like you said, this defense can still slow down that rushing attack because, again, the Browns have not faced a defense like the Colts have faced or yet. They have not faced somebody like us yet. They could brown it up. They might come into some controversy and then they don't know how to adjust. And then they'll be like, oh, I don't know what to do now. I'm just going to start resorting back to what I know before. And they could brown it up. It's quite possible. I think.
When they faced a decent defense, right, with the Ravens, they scored 6 points. So
yeah,
I'm not really like super concerned. I know they have a lot of weapons, but yeah, you're right. They haven't faced anybody. Oh, what's up, Devin?
Devin, thank you again.
Thank you.
$10 super chat. Here's some more juice because I'm glad you two are reunited. Let's kick the Browns donkey. I appreciate you, Devin. Thank you very much, man. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you though. I really think that this defense, this will be a good test for both teams to kind of gauge where they're at because the Colts haven't faced any, necessarily any elite offenses, I would say. I mean, the Vikings
besides the Vikings, but but that was when the Vikings were still having issues. Like I can understand that. It's kind of one of those things where, Browns haven't faced anybody defensively. The one time they didn't even score into double digits. And the Colts, faced one elite offense or one good offense this year. And obviously the Colts shut them down. So, it is a good test because people are saying, these teams are 3-1. So whatever happens with one of these teams, it kind of speaks a little bit as to what those teams are. Are they actually legit? Are they more than what their record shows? For both teams, it's just going to be a matter of what do the Colts do and what do the Browns do, and whoever wins. I think both of these teams actually are playoff contenders because I think both of these teams are in a good spot right now. But I think whoever wins this game pretty much just solidifies themselves that we are a playoff contender.
Yeah. There's 49 people in the chat right now. So thank you everybody who's in here tuning in for our pregame, whatever we call it, pregame eve type of thing for this week. If you're not yet subscribed to us, be sure to do that. And also be sure to hit the like button as well. Let's continue on here. Jack says, JT and our run blocking needs to get it going this week. We need to run the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. The Browns have a pretty good run defense, I believe. I believe they're right behind the Colts. I think they're 5th right now in allowing yards per game. So the Colts certainly do need to, get back to their – it's weird because, we said that's their identity, and they haven't really had that at all this year. They've only had one game of having a running back over 100 yards, and that was that Vikings game. And it's still the average wasn't eye-popping either. It was 3 yards per carry. So what do you think the Colts need to do to get back to that? I mean, they've struggled so far in certain ways. Jonathan Taylor's shown some flashes, but overall, as a collective, they haven't been super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult, excuse me, for this offensive line. I think a lot of it has been issues with the run blocking when it comes to scheming. Again, you have Nyheim Hines running a lot of these third down runs, which is ridiculous. And then again, you have a running back in JT that's not used to running in the NFL right now. So I think that also has a lot to do with it. But a lot of it, again, has just been, Kelvin Beatty with the $20 super chat. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, the Vikings has scored 30 or more points in every game except the Colts. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Like, people want to say, oh, the Vikings are not that great. Well, they've been putting up 30 plus points on every team besides us. So, I mean, Kelvin, you bring up a really good point, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But on top of what I was saying earlier, I think a lot of it's just missed assignments. It's just failed execution. And this last week, I get it a little more than other times because of the simple fact that it's just the simple fact that oh man, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, they just with the Bears, they have a really good defensive line, and the linebacker core, their front seven is very strong. And I understand people will say, "Oh, well, the Bucs ran for 100 yards on them." I know, but the Bears also came in on a short week. Okay, they came in on a short week. A lot of times, you're not going to be as strong as you normally would be.
Yeah, I definitely.
Can you just ban him? Can you just ban him?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. It's kind of annoying. Just out of nowhere, just throwing out shade. I don't get that.
Trevor Howard, thank you. I appreciate the like on the Paris Campbell picture. I like it. I got it signed by him too when I went on a Buckeye cruise earlier this year. So, but yeah, I like I said this last week. I know the Colts rushing was not up to par, and it really hasn't been so far this year. But I think the Colts will get it going because remember back in 2018 when the Colts finally got it going in week 5 it was week 7 when they played Buffalo, and they finally just said we're going to run the ball the way we want to. I think they're going to figure it out. I think it's just a matter of executing, and I mean, just with JT getting more time.
Yeah, for sure. Jack says number 63, that being Danny Penter, will report as eligible a bunch tomorrow.
I think so.
Yeah.
Honestly, think so. That'd be a smart idea, especially if you're going to want to run the ball.
There's some people saying that Clark's going to get destroyed. We already touched on that.
Yeah, we kind of already touched on that.
Don't think that's going to happen. Toure hasn't been back this season. He's obviously still recovering from that injury, that awful ankle injury he suffered last year about this time against the Kansas City Chiefs a year ago. So it's encouraging because it seems like from what we've seen, he's been working on the sidelines and stuff like that. So super encouraging. Who would you start, Trey Burton or Jack Doyle?
Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah.
You failed to mention the number 1 tight end, and that's Mo Alley Cox. Cox needs to continue to be used in this offense. Now, if I had to say for this week, if you're going to try to run or do some short play action downs, then I would say use Jack Doyle. But if I had to answer the question, I want to use Trey Burton because I know people were like, oh, why are we force feeding Trey Burton? But there's a reason we got Trey Burton. And I think that we should use Trey Burton.
I agree. I just want to see more Mo Alley Cox. I mean, he only had one catch, but it was a touchdown. But like, I want to see him be utilized more because he's just doing things that like none of the tight ends can do. He's a unique talent among this tight ends group. So I agree. I want to see them using Mo Alley Cox more. But the good thing is the Colts can use all 3 of these tight ends to kind of help pad the loss, I guess, of Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman a little bit. So I'm hoping that they do that against these linebackers who, if you guys haven't checked out the game preview, I did. Be sure to check that out with Cole Medvec. Over there at Browns Grinders. Be sure to check that out. He talks about the linebackers a little bit. And similar to the guy last week from Chicago Bottom, Nick, these linebackers are very, very susceptible to the passing game. They struggle. That's been their biggest struggle is against tight ends. So I think the Colts need to do what they weren't able to do last week for some reason and attack these linebackers using their tight ends. Because they have a lot of injuries on the offensive side. Their tight ends are not one of those right now. So you use all three of these guys in certain ways to expose these linebackers. That's what I think the Colts need to do with these guys.
Master, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Derek, if you just want to handle that, just continuing to scroll.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Gotcha. I see OBJ having a very flat game against our defense, going to be 5 catches, 45 yards. That would be interesting. I would love to see that. I mean, OBJ's just been red hot so far, the last couple of weeks especially. So really would love to see the Colts kind of limit him and limit his plays. They've done a good job, honestly, on number one receivers so far. I know Allen Robinson had a pretty good game statistically, but he really was not a major factor in that game. He didn't make really any plays that you're just like, that changes the game, if that makes any sense. I mean, he had the touchdown late. It was a garbage time touchdown. So really, if you take that away, he didn't really do a whole lot. He had some catches, but they weren't back-breaking catches. So they weren't DeAndre Hopkins last year catches against the Colts that ultimately lost him that game. So if the Colts can, he's probably going to get some catches, but if the Colts can kind of just limit those catches and what they do, I would love for that to happen. That's for sure.
The Colts have done such a good job of eliminating the big play, right? They've been making their teams gain every yard by a struggle. And that was something that the Browns didn't have to deal with last week against the Cowboys. Almost every play was a 20-yard or 30, 40, 50-yard play. They just literally got everything. I mean, hell, they were doing so well. You had their safety saying that you can't expect us to play 100% every play. So I don't know what y'all are talking about. You're not going to get that against the Colts. That is not a thing here. This defense will play 100% every single play. And believe me, this defense is way better than the one that you just faced last week. So I think that OBJ will have a pedestrian day, I think.
Yeah, and that's what they're predicated on is 100% every single play. That's why they have those loafs, right? Even if you're playing a great game, you can still get loafs by this Colts defense. So by Matt Eberflus and company. So I love that about the Colts. We haven't always seen eye to eye on the scheme and how that works, but I love just the whole idea of every single play you're holding yourself accountable, and you can't afford to take a play off because you will get called out for it. I love that.
Absolutely. Let's see here.
Keep going. Keep moving.
LOL, brown it up. I reference to that. Brown it up is just a great.
You know why they're saying that, right?
Nobody browns it up like the Browns.
That's the whole thing about Odell Beckham. You know why he likes the Browns, right?
Yeah,
comment.
Is our O-line still good, even though Costanzo's ribs are in terrible condition? Well, I mean, here's the funny thing is I think Costanzo will probably be back next week.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's destroyed his ribs completely. But, I mean, this offensive line's still good. I mean, yeah, you just lost the most important position, which I get. That's difficult to come back from. But the Colts have so many other options to help LaRaven Clark at left tackle. I saw somebody in the comments earlier, Cody, I didn't bring it up, but it said, how do you feel about shifting the offensive line to where Nelson plays left tackle? It's I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know
want
about
to mess with that chemistry,
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can get away with having a weakness on your offensive line. Really, the Colts didn't have really a weakness per se so far through the in terms of pass protection. So if LaRaven Clark's kind of the guy that's struggling, you can help him out. You can't get away with multiple offensive linemen, that are bad in pass protection. But if you have one guy who's struggling, you can help him out. And that's the beauty of what the Colts have on their offensive line. If a guy goes out, they can just help that guy, the backup guy. And I think they're going to do a good job at that for sure. So I think the offensive line is going to be fine, quite honestly. I think people are screaming doomsday after Costanzo and Leonard are out. But the fortunate thing is this isn't 2018 where the Colts literally have no depth. If one guy goes down, you're screwed, basically. The Colts have a ton of depth, and that's a really encouraging part. And that's why we think, even though those two injuries suck, we feel like the Colts are going to be okay for a game.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Love the podcast, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a sweat.
What a name. Thank you.
We're going to superset in any trick plays.
God,
I highly doubt it. They might, though. I mean, the Browns
just
are good
quarterback
at
sneak it. If that's the only play I want to see Jacoby Brissett in, is quarterback sneak, because he's a big boy.
Don't know if you guys know, but they just elevated 2 players. Yeah, they elevated Eldrin Camp and they elevated Marcus Johnson back to the active roster again.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that makes sense. You bring in an extra lineman because you lost one. And obviously Marcus Johnson had 1 catch, but it was a very important and good catch. So,
that's our we're not going to make a video about that. This is our video about that, because those take forever to do everything. And we can just let you know right here.
Yeah, exactly. Prediction: Colts win 26-24. Okay. Should we be aggressive or conservative in this game?
I think you should. This is where you can pass it a lot more. Especially with the Browns kind of struggling with some injuries in their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
They were not good to begin with. So I think this is a game where this Colts offense, the passing offense in particular, can get their mojo back a little bit. And, they struggled, especially last week and the week before. They haven't had eye-popping numbers. So I think this would be a good bounce-back game for this passing offense.
Let's see here. What up, JDW? What's up, dude? If we can stop the run on defense and make Baker throw the ball, then we have a great chance of winning.
Yeah,
I actually agree. I'm actually in the same boat that, the Browns are a heavy run favorite. They like to run the ball, and that's how they set up on those, especially in play action. If you can force Baker to try to make those awkward throws that like the Colts have been through the first 4 weeks of the season, then the Colts are in a good position.
Gosh, that makes me think, are the Browns and the Colts offense, I know the Browns are a lot better at running it. Are they set up the same way to succeed? They run first, and then ideally you want your quarterback to not throw it a ton. If he does, you're kind of in trouble.
I think that it's not that way for them. I think it's just the matter of how you put Baker Mayfield in the right position, because Baker Mayfield in play action passes has been phenomenal this season. He already has – here's the amazing stat, Cody. I don't know if you heard this on NFL Network. 12 passes last year that Baker Mayfield completed on play action. He has 13 this season already.
Whoa.
So he has already destroyed his play action numbers this year. He's already looked really good. He's actually only had 1 incomplete pass on a play action pass this season. So, I mean, he's locked in on the play action. And if the Colts can just get that pressure up the middle, again, that's so pivotal.
I think a big reason why is because the Browns have just run the ball so dang well. Teams bite. And if the Colts can slow down Kareem Hunt, like they have the 4th best run defense. If they can continue that trend, I mean, they won't bite. And I feel like they're going to have a lot more success against that play action if they can do that. So that'll be a key for sure.
And because the Colts are so good in their front 7, even without Darius Leonard, the safeties and the safeties don't have to bite. They don't have to bite as hard as other teams would, so they have a better chance.
Yep. Okay, Timothy says the Bears linebackers are vastly better football players than the Browns linebackers. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, probably, yeah. But I would say, against the pass, both of them have struggled so far against the tight ends. But yeah, I think this is the game where the Colts can definitely expose these Browns linebackers. They lost Joe Schobert, which was a big loss. I don't even know who their linebackers are anymore, quite honestly. I haven't really looked, but nobody that really stands out, I guess.
Let's see.
Roads closed. Yes, Roads.
Roads.
That's good. I didn't even think of that. Rocky Road. Yeah, that's funny.
I'm honestly confident not even going to cap. Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
You want to know, Derek, what's hilarious with Xavier Rhodes and like everything that's going on? Vikings fans have not said anything about Xavier Rhodes since he's just completely like changed it after that week 2 game. Like week 2 was a decent game for him. Like I would say that's the start of when he's really ascended as a player. It wasn't his greatest game. He made a key play though. It's funny because every single Vikings fan that I talked to was trashing Xavier Rhodes, was saying, Rhodes open, oh, that's so funny. And then Xavier Rhodes just comes out and just completely just shocks everybody. And he has been phenomenal so far, but I'm really excited for this young secondary. These 4 defensive backs, 5 defensive backs, all these guys. There's so many guys that I'm so excited about in this secondary, young and old.
Yeah.
All right. Who's better, Anthony Walker or Bobby Okereke in 3 years? I'm probably going to go Okereke.
Probably Okereke.
Because as good as Anthony Walker is and has, how good of a leader he is, Bobby Okereke is just, quite honestly, physically a better player. And that's no indictment, I guess, on Anthony Walker. It's just the facts. Like, Bobby Okereke is more athletic. He's younger. And I feel like he just has he has some more upside than Anthony Walker. And Anthony Walker can still be a good player. It's not saying that one's terrible and one's going to be great. Like, they can both be really good players, but I think Bobby Okereke probably has the higher ceiling for me. Timothy says, if you put attention on OBJ, Roger double team, and pack the box or stack the box against the run, you're looking good. I agree, but Jarvis Landry is another name that the Colts cannot afford to just write off.
That was where I disagree with him on this statement. Landry,
you got to pay attention to both these guys. Yeah.
The Browns have so many weapons. You guys fail to realize. You hear the media say OBJ, like as if that's the only name they have. They have Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, and David Njoku. And they have Kareem Hunt. So do not think it's only OBJ here. OBJ will get shut down when he actually plays a real corner. This comment, though.
Kareem Hunt will have okay, this must be a Browns fan hopping in here. You're welcome in here, but you're going to be sadly mistaken.
Your offensive line is not the best in the NFL, and also play a defense that's not giving up 37 points a game, and then you can come talk to me. Please. My team's giving up 12 points a game.
And not to mention 2 games out of that have been garbage time points, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I think we're on the same here with JDW. Losing Leonard obviously hurts, but Okereke, he gives me more confidence that they're going to be okay. He thinks EJ Speed's going to make a good play, a big play too. So that's interesting.
That'd be great. Jamari, what's up?
What's up, man? Jaguars fan. Tisdale's or T-Dales, whatever. I feel like Browns even last year played the 49ers. They relied too much on trick plays for their receivers and had a ton versus Dallas.
Exactly.
They
can get fancy, but I don't know if you can get fancy on this Colts defense. Dude, they brought this graphic up on Dan Orlovsky is one of the few guys in the national media that actually knows what this Colts defense is doing. He put up numbers that were he said this was what the San Francisco defense was doing last year.
Yeah.
And this is what we're doing this year. We're actually better than them to start out. So, he's saying this defense is legit. You can't just come in and continue to just say, oh, well, we're going to run the outside zone every time and we're easily going to get 5-6 yards on this defense. No, this front defensive line is not going to allow you to do that.
And people were saying, I remember people were saying last year when the 49ers defense was doing what they were doing, same thing they're saying here. They haven't played anybody. And what happened? 49ers had the best defense last year. So, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but people said the same thing about the Niners defense last year. Same exact thing.
Yep.
And look what happened.
That is true. Myles Garrett is a beast. Yes, he is
a beast. Yeah.
Thanks for the interdivisional love. Nelson will help LaRaven. Yeah, on the inside for sure. I definitely think Nelson's probably mentally taken that upon himself.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. There's a difference between Phillip Rivers and freaking Mason Rudolph. The difference is Rivers isn't racist, and also I'm just kidding. I doubt Rudolph is racist, but I'm not even gonna respond to that because Myles Garrett and that was a weird situation. I don't know what happened, but
It was a weird situation.
But Rivers is just a natural trash talker, though. It's different. Also, Rivers doesn't talk trash when he's sacked on the ground,
right,
and ripping a player's helmet off.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that. That was crazy.
Because Brian, the Browns fans don't know what winning is. They don't know what winning is. They get one little simp of it, and then they just say, "Oh, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread," even though our team hasn't been to the playoffs in over a decade. It's okay. They'll learn. They'll learn.
Did you just say simp?
Yeah, I did say simp.
You know what that stands for, right?
Yes, I know what that is.
Squirrels in my pants.
Yeah.
You know, for Phineas and Ferb. You know.
Yeah, sure. Just
I'll play the song. I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed of it. It's a good song. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Oh man, let's just not. Okay. Let's get into
you did the Dak dance. I can do the squirrels in my pants dance.
Oh, good Lord.
I feel like they haven't been involving Taylor enough. I think he's our best offensive weapon. I would like to have seen them run Taylor a little bit more last game. I do agree with that. It obviously wasn't working with Hines, especially Hines last week. So I would definitely love to see them, get Taylor a little bit more involved. I would like to see them commit a little bit more to what they were doing in the Week 2 game, where they just were giving Taylor the rock every single play almost. I mean, I think that's what they need to do. I would love for them to get back to that identity for sure.
Okay, this one's interesting. You want to read this one out?
Colts O-line hasn't been great since Dave DeGuglielmo was fired as offensive line coach because he was meant to then sell. I forgot about that whole freaking thing that happened. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
So apparently, they said that Dave DeGuglielmo, who was, if I think I said it right, he was the offensive line coach in 2018, right? And apparently, they said he, like, Denzel Good or something, who was still on the team at that point, had to like leave or something, or like got benched or something because he attended his family's funeral or something like that. And they said that Dave DeGuglielmo was like really mean about it and like was just like really uncaring. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's kind of what the story was.
I think I remember that story. I didn't remember it off the top of my head, but I feel like I remember that.
It was just like, what? How does that even happen?
Yes, 6.7 yards per carry is good, but let's also not forget, you don't have Nick Chubb for this game, who is your primary number one back, and you faced the Bengals, Washington, and you faced Dallas. You faced 3 bad defenses. Good luck against a defense that can actually stop the run. The one time you faced one, you got nothing. So I'll just say that. That's funny.
I want to see. Oh man, that would be crazy. Be a little indie special or something along those lines.
Here we go. He is one of those.
Oh my God.
He is one of those Browns fans that thinks they're going to blow us out.
It's not going to happen. It's not. They expect the Colts to pull Nelson on counter runs this week or have Doyle and Cox in motion H-back roll to lead block for Taylor.
Absolutely, because we saw how that worked last week. The one of the few times they pulled Quentin Nelson on a run, you know what Jonathan Taylor did? He got a 20-yard rush.
Yeah.
So please, more pulls for Quentin Nelson, please.
And how
honestly,
many people do we have in this chat right now?
75.
75 of you. We only have 24 likes.
That's crazy, though. 70 people in here for 12 a.m. on a Saturday.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
And I'll tell you what, dude, as an offensive lineman, I'll tell you what, it's one of the most rewarding things ever when you get to pull and you get to smash somebody who doesn't know it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a center, believe it or not, and I actually used to pull a little bit in our last game of my high school career. And, like, I would hit that defensive end so many times, he'd never see it coming. Never see it coming.
Nice. I was an offensive tackle, and I wish I would have played more of that in high school because I enjoyed it. Yes. Seriously, though, that is the big reason why I say, okay, the Colts, I am so much more confident in this 3-1 Colts team as opposed to the 5-2 Colts team last year. Yeah, they won 5 games and they had a good record, but the point differential was like so marginal. It was so close in every single game. I was just like, it's going to catch up to them eventually. Like, they're doing great, but it's got to catch up to them. I mean, we even saw with the Bears, like, they were just having these insane comebacks, winning by, last-minute field goals, whatever it is. And that's why I was, like, confident the Colts are going to pretty much beat the Bears pretty soundly because the Bears really they've won, but it hasn't been like, oh, my goodness, convincing wins at all. And they haven't really faced anybody.
The Bears have a 5-point differential. They're 4-1 and they have a 5-point differential.
I feel like the Colts were something like that, like last year. And so I feel a lot more comfortable that like they have dominated the teams they're supposed to dominate at this point. So I feel a lot better about where they're at now. Michael,
thank you, man. Appreciate it. Glad to be back for at least today. Doubt I'll be doing too much tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. But feeling decent enough.
I may try to get back. I don't know if I'll be right on time, but I may try to get back and do a little bit of the game stream for tomorrow.
Gotcha. Hey, Unger is in here. What's up?
What's up, Unger? Yeah, I went on his channel a couple days ago, so be sure to check him out. We talked Colts Browns a little bit. That was fun.
Hold on. I want to see 99 and 90 destroy Kareem Hunt, please.
Yes. And let's talk about Grover Stewart just for a minute because nobody's talked about him. My boy Grover is looking good so far. That's for sure.
Yeah, Grover Stewart has been phenomenal. Again, real football people understand it, Cody. Like the people are going to look out. I guarantee you this is going to be a thing, Cody, that at the end of the season, if Grover Stewart continues to play the way he is, people are going to say, why would we re-sign Grover Stewart? He has like 2 sacks and has like maybe a couple tackles for loss. Because if you look at the game film every week, that guy is getting as much penetration as anyone. I would argue he's actually been more consistent at getting pressure up the middle than DeForest Buckner has and on rundowns. Yeah, like on rundowns, I've seen Grover Stewart push people back further than DeForest Buckner does. I saw a play where Cordell Patterson was running last week. Grover Stewart ate a double team, bro. He ate it. He didn't just not get pushed back. He ate it. He took both of them and then just threw one of them to the ground and just nowhere to run. That was exactly where the run was supposed to go. Grover Stewart did not give up any ground. That was incredible.
Wow. How are you feeling, Derek, so far?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Okay. Just trying to, not get too hyped.
Yeah. No Dak dance for a while. Sorry, guys.
Still not 100%. Hopefully I'll be 100% here in a couple days. Give me a little bit more time to get this crap out of my lungs, but outside of that, I'm doing all right. I have more energy than I did 2 days ago.
Nice. That's good.
2 days ago, I had no energy, bro. Nothing.
Really?
I could not do anything. I barely got out of bed. And like today, the last 2 days, I've actually had energy, which makes me feel a little better. All right, you want to read this one?
Yeah. Is it just me or am I still being paranoid about this defense? In the back of my mind, I'm waiting for the game where we get shredded and we're exposed. PTSD from previous years on the Colts defense. I totally get that, Jake. I'm in the same boat a little bit because I'm like, when's the game when scrub insert Brock Osweiler is going to come and shred this defense like we've seen before? Like, I'm just waiting for it. But, like, I've been a little more confident about this team because they've shown that they can adapt. And that's something we have not really seen a whole lot from a week-to-week basis. So, totally get that. And hopefully it doesn't happen this week. I have a lot more confidence in these guys that they have because it seems like they have the young talent, but they also have the veteran talent as well to kind of hold guys accountable and be leaders in that locker room. Xavier Rhodes, Tavon Wilson. They just re-signed, brought back Najee Good, who was a big thing in 2018, who's a leader in that defense as well. So I love what they've been doing there. Arrowhead has the Colts winning 28-24. He says we get 3 rushing touchdowns, 150 rushing yards against the Browns linebackers. I think our O-line does better. We should blitz Baker. We can't give him the time to throw. I would love for the Colts to run for 150 yards because this Browns run defense is good. So if the Colts could do that, they would, in my mind, give me a little more confidence moving forward in running the football. That's for sure.
Watching Blackman on the field, he looks like a star in the making. He absolutely does. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Why do you think that you guys are playing like San Francisco's defense? Well, again, because of the pressure up front. It all starts with the pressure of the defensive line. The sack numbers are already better than what they were last season. And just the pressure of making a quarterback feel uncomfortable every time he goes back to snap. It does so much to a quarterback. People forget. It's just the defensive line, the interior of the defensive line is what's doing it. It's not even the edges. Forget Justin Houston having 3.5 sacks. It's the pressure that DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart are implementing up front and in the middle. It's just causing so much havoc for all of them.
Yeah. Rhodes is no longer the full game single coverage shutdown on an island that he used to be. Colts let him play some zone, occasionally get a little help, and he's good. Minnesota asked too much of him. I mean, I can see that. And honestly, you think about it a couple of years ago when Justin Houston was struggling with injuries, Derek, when he was with Kansas City, they were asking him to do too much. They were asking him to be in coverage and just do things that he wasn't comfortable doing. And I think that's the thing I love about Matt Eberflus and this defense is like when they bring guys in, they play to their strengths. They don't play to things that they don't really love to do or want to do necessarily. And I think that's been a big reason why Justin Houston thrived here, and also Xavier Rhodes so far has thrived here because the Colts know these guys' strengths. They sign them and they play to their strengths a little bit. So I definitely love that. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me remind some Colts fans. Remember when we were worried about Burton and Doyle out? I don't even like Burton now. Remember we were panicking about Rock? This team was built right. I mean, I agree the depth is great. And that is something that I will give Chris Ballard props for every single time. He has done a great job at getting depth on this defense. I mean, gosh, it's crazy when your starting safety goes out for the year, you don't really miss a beat. In fact, you get better. That just speaks to the depth that Chris Ballard has. And you're starting running back. I know Marlon Mack's a little bit more like noticeable, but the Colts still have 3 legit running backs behind him. So I love the fact that the Colts have so much depth all the way around. Oh, my gosh. But I don't want to comment on that one.
They've been trying to do that for like 17 years, and it's not worked.
They said the same about Khalil Mack last week, and he did virtually nothing. So
yeah, exactly.
Colts will show blitz, and the Browns will check to run, which will be 8 up, and good luck passing all over a tall defensive line in the pocket. So a lot of play action or rollouts and wide receiver screens. Yeah.
And we know how the Colts are with wide receiver screens. The Bears tried to do that a lot last week. And the thing is, the Colts defense flows to the ball so well that it's hard for them to actually get, things of that. And not to mention with, again, how aggressive and physical our corners are, it's so much more difficult to block them. And that's why it's more difficult for you to get more yards, because if corners get blocked easy, then it's easy to move down the field with it because you can get a full head of steam, but the Colts don't do that.
Yeah, I agree. You remember a few years ago when the Colts were absolutely awful at stopping the screen, so bad at stopping the screen, and now they're really, really good. So shout out to Eberflus and company. Bears fans were the same way, with Colts fans already scared of Foles and the bear down. Yeah, that was funny. Just seeing that last week. It's always fun to go back to teams where they're like, we're going to dominate you. We had a guy in our comments last week, Derek, I don't know if you saw it, who said the Bears are going to dominate the Colts. Come back to this comment when the Colts lose. And then the Colts won, and he deleted the comment, and it was just like, okay, dude, how do you feel now?
How do you feel now?
And one guy said,
you can't
I was
talk
coming back to find the comment, but it got deleted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we deleted it. Yeah, that's right.
Right, we deleted it. Do you think we should target Zach Pascal less? No, I think we should target him more. Quite honestly, he's reliable, and I want to see the Colts target him more. I love Zach Pascal. I love me some Zach Pascal. So, Yeah.
And Brandon, I can answer this for you. The same reason that we're having issues running the ball now is you get guys that are obviously very shaky. You want them to be able to find that full head of steam. We just don't have somebody like that. We don't have a guy like a Percy Harvin that used to be able to just slip through defenders like that. And not to mention, if you're in a wildcat formation, most people know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
And this O-line's already having an issue running the ball normally. How do you think we would do in a wildcat?
Yeah, and Paris Campbell's out, so like if you had Paris Campbell, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Here's something here. Hold on, Zach. Zach Ahmad with the $10 super chat. Want to read that one for me?
How do you feel about Rivers? He's played decent with some okay receivers. Feels like the defense and special teams will have to carry us this year with Rivers doing what is needed, but nothing special.
I think, Zach, you hit it right on the head there, man. I think that's pretty much what it is. I don't think we've seen the best of Phillip Rivers yet. I think he's going to figure it out. I think he's going to get some more big plays. But you're right. That's what this Colts team has looked like so far. And, if that's what it's going to be, I mean, I've seen teams win Super Bowls that way. And it certainly can happen. And I'll tell you this right now, Phillip Rivers has looked better than what Peyton Manning did in 2015 when they won a Super Bowl. So I'm not saying this defense is as good as that one was, but Phillip Rivers is better than what Peyton Manning was that year, and we saw what happened.
And you think about it, Phillip Rivers has had to deal with losing two of his top three receivers so far, that being Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. He's also, if you think about it, this would technically be, if you had a preseason, this would technically be week 1 of the regular season. Because now you've played 4 games up to this point. Now it'd be week 1. And
what a week
I
one
feel like
opponent.
it's just what's that?
I said, what a week 1 opponent.
Yeah, right. But I just feel like this offense is just going to take a little bit of more time to get used to each other. And you lose your starting running back, and your tight ends have been in and out. So, and Rivers hasn't been bad. I mean, last week wasn't great, but Tom Brady didn't look great against this Bears defense either. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I want to see more from them. I definitely agree. I want to see more from Rivers. I want to see more from this running game. But I'm giving them a little bit of grace because there's a lot of new guys in there, a new quarterback, new running back, your new tight end. I'm giving them a little bit of grace, probably more than normal in this situation because you have no preseason. And I just want to see if they can continue to grow together and get better. Because I feel like right now we're kind of at the floor a little bit. And if they can get even better, and they have a lot of room for optimism to grow, and if they can, I mean, gosh, this team will be very scary moving forward.
All right, I want to answer this. Hey, Blast, I want to ask you this. What has Dalvin Cook done the last 2 weeks? And what did he do against the Colts? Just go back and tell me what you think. Because I can tell you don't even have to go back and look because I'll tell you. Dalvin Cook, 2 straight weeks after getting only 60 yards against the Colts, ran for 150 yards 2 straight games. You want to tell me that the Colts don't know how to shut down a good running back? Come at me again about it.
This is the first good team the Colts have faced this year. Well, they just beat an undefeated Chicago team that's now 4-1. They beat a Vikings team that's put up 30 on about every other team. And I mean, who have the Browns really played besides the Ravens?
The Ravens, and y'all lost. You got blown out.
And they haven't blown out any of these other teams either. That's my thing. Yeah,
you're not blowing out any of your other opponents. You won by 5 against by 5 against the Bengals. You won by 14 against Washington without their best pass rusher, who's a rookie, by the way. And not to mention, you beat the Cowboys by 7. Okay, you beat the Cowboys by 7. Any word on Walker? It sounds like he's gonna play. They never even did they say he was questionable?
He's questionable, but it seems like the Colts have liked what they see, so it's trendy towards him playing.
Okay. Let me see here. Oh yeah, on that pole, yeah, on the pole. Yeah, he played dead, so he didn't have to. Even though he still got destroyed. You know what was funny is, do you know the reason why Jonathan Taylor was able to turn the full corner on Roquan?
Mm-mm.
Because when Nelson pancaked Eddie Jackson, he flipped over and he actually got in the way of Roquan Smith's flight of path just a little bit, and it made Roquan try to jump over Nelson, and Taylor was able to get the edge. I was a guard and laid out 2 people on a counter and got my name called out over the intercom in the stadium. That is sick, bro. That is sick. I actually once got I got laid out on a 2 count once.
Really?
There was a 2 count, and my quarterback sold it. He yelled that shit, and the guy that was over the top of me didn't even think twice. He went for it. He knew it was 1. He hit me so hard, he made me do a backward somersault, and we got 5 yards on it. And then from the back corner of the stadium, there's the student section, I hear the guy over the air horn saying, "We want larger." It's like, oh my God, that was the best moment ever, because then I started taunting that guy all game long, because after that, I owned his ass all game after that. And nice. I reminded him every time, like, hey, thanks for the 5 yards. About to get another 5 right here. I was taunting that guy so bad. He was getting so mad at me, and I'm glad he did. Nice. Let's see here. Yeah, dude. It's funny though, because we haven't. This is not Colts related, but do you think the Titans play this week? What's your betting odds on them getting 1 more COVID test positive?
I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, we haven't even talked about this, but good grief, it's ridiculous that I'm moving here, but it's ridiculous that teams have to change their schedule because the Titans were stupid and they did not listen to protocol.
Yep, I agree.
It's so dumb. Like, just make them forfeit if they're going to be like this,
Especially since we're finding out that they ignored protocol.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
I feel Reich is running Naheem more to make him less predictable. That's true. Could be possible. Is this cool getting Colts fans' perspective? Hey, Blast, we love you, man. I know that we might be a little harsh on you, but it's all just debate. It's all it is. It's just debate, nothing personal. So I'll just love it when if the Colts actually do beat y'all, and then you got to come back here. Simone saying it's 6 p.m. where she's at. All right. What do you think of this one?
I don't know if I agree with that, but that would be an interesting theory.
I actually think that might actually be true, believe it or not. I actually do. Yeah, exactly, Timothy.
We love ourselves some Grover Stewart. That's for sure.
What about Stallsworth? I haven't seen him much. He's been in quite a decent amount of snaps, though, hasn't he?
I didn't see him last game, but he made a key play a couple weeks ago.
I did see him in last game a little bit. I don't know if he made any plays, but I did see him in.
He's getting some reps, yeah.
Well, Paris, we don't know. Still no word on there yet. And Teray's supposed to be back probably around week 9 or so.
Yeah.
So what I'm guessing.
Definitely don't want to rush him back,
Yep. Grover Stewart hasn't faced the Browns guards polling. Good luck trying to stop a 310-pound man. I'm just saying. Grover Stewart disrupts plays with penetration and forces the offense to change the flow of the game or of the play. Absolutely.
There's just a lot of people like talking in the comments.
Yeah, there's a lot to cape up on. I'm trying to catch back up a little bit because we're 13 minutes behind.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
You guys are awesome, but it's hard for me to keep up because my breathing. So
yeah.
Let's see here. I agree, but I don't think we're getting Campbell back week 9.
No.
Or week 8. There's no way.
I feel like he'd be a late. Like if you need
he'd probably be like week 12, I think is the earliest.
Yeah.
Don't make the excuse for injuries when you take this L. Who's making excuses? Who's making excuses? I ain't making no excuses. I ain't making no excuses. This Colts team ain't worried about no injuries. Believe me, this team is built well enough that they don't need to worry about that.
Yep.
Of course, it would be nice to have our third best lineman, who happens to be the left tackle, and the number 1 linebacker in the NFL. But I mean, of course, it's whatever though.
We'll roll with it.
We'll roll with it. Old man Rivers is terrible. Well, if your definition of terrible is, what he's been so far, then I don't know what your definition can be.
Yeah.
Zach again with another $5 super chat. What do you guys think about the team's ceiling this year with our great defense, but take into account the tough schedule later? I'm still on the 10-6 wagon here. Playoffs is still easily in my book right now. But again, like you said, I don't think this offense is built just yet to be able to keep up with everything. But I like what this defense is doing. I think this offense is going to get better at some point, and I think that's it.
Yeah, I got 11-5 for them this year. I think that's pretty achievable, quite honestly, because you have a decent stretch coming up here. But overall, there's not besides the Ravens and, gosh, who else? I don't even know. Maybe the Packers. There's no teams that I'm oh my gosh,
and Pittsburgh's another one.
Pittsburgh maybe. So
I already have us losing to Pittsburgh. That's
right.
Hey,
Pittsburgh's
what's up,
always a
man?
tough one.
The Spotlight Raiders talk. Hey, fellas, what's going on? Bro, how you doing, man?
The Raiders, too.
How you doing, man? And the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders are going to be a difficult one for us. We always lose to the Raiders. So what's up, man? Hey, guys, make sure y'all give this man a sub. Go over and check out his channel, the Spotlight Raiders talk. I know that you had an issue with your account recently, bro. Just make sure that you're keeping your head up, man. You're doing a great job over there. Don't let it get you down, man. And Kelvin with a $5 super chat. We're going to introduce the league to a young man named EJ Speed. Hey, I certainly hope so. But Kelvin, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Let's see here. What's it going to take to get TY going in the offense? What's it going to take, Cody? I don't know. I'm not getting you. I'm not getting you anymore, Cody. Where are you at? I'm not hearing you. All right. Well, once we let Cody get up to where he's at, I don't know. He's just slow right now.
Sorry. Gotta love the backwoods of Indiana.
Yeah, I know, right?
All the train tracks and all the stupidness.
Yeah, right. To answer your question, I think it's just about Phillip Rivers throwing it to him. Honestly, I think that's the issue right now. is he's just not getting targeted a lot.
Right.
Dalvin Cook is no Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. Browns average 6.7 yards per carry, and we're not blowing out opponents. We went 41-14 in the fourth quarter. Okay, your team's still winning by an average of 7 points. Your team is still winning by an average of 7 points, my dude. That's it. And Dalvin Cook is almost as good as Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. Dalvin Cook is on their level. Yeah, Boiler, I think they definitely will be able to. Y'all remember when the Colts held the Cowboys to 0? Absolutely, I remember that. It was one of my favorite games.
That was a great game.
It was a great game. But let me say something. I don't think Frank Reich has let this offense loose yet. He hasn't really had to, so why show what we really want to do? That's what I've been saying, Cody. It's really what I honestly think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Anthony, what's up, man? I think Zaire Franklin's starting. I think that's what I thought I saw. But I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'm from a little town called Sydney, Ohio, about half hour north of Dayton.
Yeah, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Is Sheldon coming back? Haven't heard much. He was practicing a little bit the other day. I anticipate him to play at some point. Just don't know when. Grover's he was listed at 333, but he's 315 now. He lowered some of that body fat. He actually got stronger. So if that tells you anything, reminds you people that weight's not always the thing. It's about your muscle. How much muscle do you have? It's all that matters. And Blast, I won't be surprised that we'll never see you again if the Colts actually win this game. I wouldn't be surprised either if we never saw you again in the stream afterwards, because you won't come in talking crap when we actually beat you. I'm just saying. And you know what? If we lose, I don't care. I ain't taking this crap down. What you mean? I ain't taking this thing down. Why would I do that? Well, Ethan, it's funny because Zach Hicks would absolutely dislike you for saying that. Zach Hicks would absolutely despise you for making that comment. I don't understand why JT didn't get the ball more. It's stupid that we would give it to Wilkins. He's not the number one back. I mean, Cody, I know you're not talking right now, but like that is funny because there's a reason that there's a reason that Wilkins is getting the ball, because Wilkins finds the hole so much better than everyone else. Ethan, the last game was the worst game he had all season. All through 3 weeks, I think he missed like 12 passes? Or no, he missed 10 passes in week 1, but he was still through for 70. Bro, before week 4, he was leading the league in completion percentage. So I don't know what you mean by missing passes, but The Browns ain't going to score 30 plus, saying that right now. Absolutely. Kareem Hunt is a poor man's version of Dalvin Cook. All right. I think I lost Cody there. Probably going to get off here, guys, in about I think I'm going to get off here, guys, in like 5-10 minutes. Just need to kind of chill out for the day. But it was good to get back here, guys. And Cody, I just told everyone that probably going to get off in like 5-10 minutes or something. Just because of it being so late. Jack Adams with a $5 super chat. Baker struggles to get the ball to OBJ so much they literally have to have Landry throw deep. Yeah, that's true, Jack. That's very true. Thank you again for the $5 super chat, my guy. Thanks, JDW. Colin, thank you for that. Glad to be back a little bit. I don't know why we don't feed TY, just throw him the dang ball and let him go catch. I had to bench him in fantasy because of it. Yeah, I know. That's one of those things that's been irritating me. I just don't know why we haven't gotten him involved as much. Okay, I got you, Reaper. Timothy, the vitamin C and honey is not going to get rid of what I have. I'm just saying. Just saying. That's I believe me, I've been taking my vitamin C, getting my water, stuff like that. Believe me, it won't help with what I have. But I appreciate the advice there. I'll take that into consideration for when I actually have something it does. But yeah. Denzel Ward will be guarding TY. So not so wise to throw the ball to him. Yeah, right. T.Y. Hilton, I'll definitely take my chances with T.Y. over Denzel Ward, but I'm just saying. All right. I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. Really do appreciate all the love and support for this stream. Cody, you want to say some final remarks here before we head off?
Yeah, thanks everybody for bearing with me there in the final few minutes. But yeah, it was a fun stream. Glad that we could be back and actually talk a little bit when we're both feeling up to it and feeling healthy. So glad you're feeling better, Derek, and obviously hope that you can continue to heal up. And also for a dub tomorrow, man. It's gonna be a challenge for sure. But
oh yeah, I'll definitely be watching. And thank you guys again for tuning in. It was an awesome stream. Thank you all for the support. Thank you for the glad to be back messages. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for Cody and myself. And as always, go Colts.